Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here, coming at you from the Knife Center, and welcome to Knife AQ. This is episode number 81, the Knife series, where I answer all your questions, whether they're sharp or dull. This week, we're talking about some lesser used materials on folding knife blades these days, some classy fixed blades, as well as trying to find an answer to the question, is there such a thing as too many knives? Let's get into it. All right, folks, if you've never seen one of these episodes before, here's what to expect. I'm going to go through and answer some questions that people have left down in the comments section of previous videos. So if you want a chance to have your question featured in a future episode, that's where you should leave it, right down there in the comments. First question today comes from Joyce Lynn Campbell. Hey DCA, the time has come for my unit to start shopping for a gift for our military ball. We're looking for a nice fixed blade for around $100 each. No USMC fighting knives, SOGs, or K-bars. We are looking for something classy, not tactical. Can you help a Marine out? I absolutely can, and thank you and everyone in your unit for their service. A couple things come to mind as a possible option. First, an American-made knife, because that might be important to you folks. Check out the Izula in S35 VN steel from Essie. These come in right now at about $95, so right up there at your budget limit. Really cool knives, made in the States, like I said. The warranty on these is fantastic, and it's just a great little knife for everyday carry, as a companion blade when heading outdoors. Just a great little utility knife. And the S35 VN version, I think for this particular type of event, go with that stainless steel versus the carbon steel versions, which are more rugged, less quote unquote classy. Really nice. Folks can upgrade the handles. There are plenty of aftermarket handle scale options, including stuff from Essie themselves if they want something a little bit extra. The sheath, kind of basic, black plastic, comes with a belt clip, which will also allow you to carry it in a waistband as well. Just overall, really hard to go wrong with a knife like this for all kinds of reasons. If you want something maybe a tiny bit classier still, got another one here I really like, and this is actually the first thing that popped into my head, the MKM Micro, they say it Micro, Italian-made knife, small, kind of two-finger everyday carry fixed blade, also about $95. Two blade shapes. You've got that kind of drop point right here. I think we call it a drop point on the website. This is one of those ones that's hard to describe because depending on what angle you hold it, you could say it's a straight spine. You could say it's a straight clip point, but it's kind of drop pointy, but...
Modified reverse tanto.
Oh, Thomas, you had to say it. You had to say something, didn't you? When there's actually a reverse tanto on the table.
That's the actual one. The other one's modified.
I'm calling this a modified sheepsfoot anyway. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, folks.
They never do.
It's an apt description because you are the one that really makes all of this work.
You're welcome.
I just sit up here and talk about nonsense. Back to the knives. Two really cool shapes here. I'm usually like a drop point guy in general, but this is one of those knives. There's a few of them out there where this is the case, where something about the more utility style blade shape does it for me. What do we call it on the website? We call it a sheepsfoot blade. Sorry, Thomas.
I know a guy.
But about 95 bucks, you can get it in black G10, which is the classier maybe option at this price range. You've also got green and natural micarta options. You can get it without the scales, but get it with the scales. Like I said, it's barely a 2.5 finger grip. That little extra girth is nice for maintaining a solid hold. Plus you get that really nice attachment hardware piece right there that mimics like a folding knife's pivot collar thanks to that blue accent ring. Looks really cool. That M390 steel is a nice upgrade, and you can get them with carbon fiber scales too. And that comes a little bit over $100. Do I have the price here? Not right on my screen right now, but a few bucks more. Maybe that one could be, if you wanted to buy one carbon fiber one for a certain special someone, or the maybe the CO of your unit, that might make a nice upgrade, a nice something to set it apart from the rest of them. Let me talk about the sheath. Haven't talked about that yet. Magnetic leather sheath. And it's set up so that the knife can go in either way, depending on which way you want to carry it, because you can carry it as a neck knife, thanks to the rivet there at the top. You can also carry it as a pocket knife. Take this magnetic strap and fold it over the other way, and you can slide it into your pocket, have that strap come to the outside of your pocket, and it'll hold it right in place. Really neat, and it's really versatile as well. Very cool. Another option, I wanted to throw kind of a real high-end option at you as well. Again, for the potential like CO or someone who is deserving of one that stands out from the rest, check out Benchmade's Hidden Canyon Hunter. Now, some versions of this knife come in about 162 with wood handle scales and a leather belt sheath. This upgraded version right here, about 207. You've got a 2.8-inch blade, S90V stainless steel, so a ton of edge retention there. Really awesome rich light handles with orange liners. Looks very distinctive, fantastic all-around small fixed blade shape. Hunting and skinning, as this is part of their hunt lineup, but everyday utility. Nice thin blade, high flat grind, slices really well. And this upgrade version comes with a bolt-aron sheath that will require separate belt attachment, but standard stuff like a tech lock or an ulti clip, if you want to pocket carry this, will work just great, and it's a really cool knife as well. Hope a few of these suggestions point you in the right direction. Thanks so much. All right, next question comes from the Blue Cayman. Do you have any recommendations for a non-automatic Elmax blade? I'd love to have a Microtech, but unfortunately autos are illegal where I live. Sure thing. I actually can't even remember the last time I've seen an Elmax Microtech. I mean, they kind of bounce around steels so often. Actually, this one right here has M390 steel, but we'll get to that later. Elmax is cool stuff. You don't see it as much on folding knives these days. It's a European-made steel. In terms of performance, kind of somewhere in the ballpark of like the S30V range of stuff. Before the keyboard warriors jump down my throat, I know they're not identical, but in terms of like everyday practical usage, going to be in a similar ballpark to something like that. So it's real quality stuff. As for your particular question, folding knife that's probably going to get you closest to like a narrow OTF style with a long slender blade would be something like the Giant Mouse Ace Sonoma V2, which actually happens to be one of my favorite knives to be released last year. Fantastic profile. $195 for this one right here. You've got a 3.5 or just a bit under 3.44 inch Elmax blade. Really cool, long slender profile. Really awesome handles. This is really, in my mind, what set this knife apart from other designs last year. In any case, you've got a very ergonomically designed shape with contouring on the side as well, so it really feels absolutely fantastic in the hand in all kinds of grips as well. This is the blacked out version. You've got G10 handles and a black coating, but you can also get satin blades with a couple micarta colors as well. Nice wire pocket clip for classy carry, and that is reversible for either side. Inset liner lock, folds up nice and slender, flips out fantastically. All right, next up, actually this is kind of why I liked this question, because there are so few Elmax bladed folders these days. It allowed me to pull out a few things that we don't get to see as often on this channel, and that's always a fun thing. Check out this knife right here. It's a bit older school. It's the Feldknieven PXL-BM. Very memorable name at Feldknieven, but a really cool knife. $292 for this one right here. Blade is about 3.5 inches again, and the real standout here, apart from having Elmax, is the convex grind. Got that excellent apple seed type of shape, and the edge is, the sharp edge comes right down to it. There's no secondary bevel on this. Really cool, fairly easy to maintain too if you know how to strop and use a strop with some sandpaper as your primary sharpening method. Really nice. Stainless steel bolsters, black linen micarta with a polished finish. That is always such a super classy combination of materials right there. Looks fantastic. Tip down pocket clip on the right side, kind of a throwback to its older school roots. Liner lock. You've got dual thumb studs with a nice little bit of detailing on the end. You've got washers in the pivot here, and you've got still some nice flippable action without having to worry about bearings getting gummed up so much. Really super cool knife. All right, next up, and speaking of maybe something that feels a little bit like a throwback, however, this is an all new design, I believe. If I'm wrong, I know you'll let me know in the comments. Wingman EDC with a Tom Mayo design. This is the Mach 1 front flipper. Really cool thing, about $180. The blade here is Elmax at about 2 7/8 of an inch long. The handles are G10. It's got a real cool black and orange vibe going on, but the orange is really subtle in such a way that it kind of mimics wood almost. It's a little more random. It almost looks like a heavily figured piece of zebra wood, I gotta be honest. Something like that. Really nice. Milled pocket clip. The attachment for the pocket clip is actually from inside the handle itself, so you don't see any external screws. It's a nice little touch. And I like the way it's beveled and kind of, yeah, beveled is the word, shaped back towards the heel here. So it's very gentle as you come up on it. Very nice. We've got an inset liner lock there, ball bearings in the pivot, a couple of different opening options. You've got that top flipper and the thumb cutout, so you can do all kinds of different fidgety things. Works really well even for me. And I love the blade shape here. High flat grind, big, long, straight clip point, very distinctive and very useful. And last but not least for today, we have an Alliance Designs Mini Slim Pickens. Another knife with a sub 3-inch blade, but because it's so broad, it feels a bit bigger. Elmax, of course. Check out those handle scales. This is a copper snakeskin fat carbon. I had to keep looking at the screen, make sure I get the name right. Looks fantastic, especially against the black titanium bolsters right there. We've also got a milled pocket clip, milled titanium on this one. Another nice design that is very gentle to use. And then you've got that button lock, of course, on the front, which gives you that drop shut action. Needed a little bit there right at the end. One of the things I've always appreciated about this is the slim or subtle flipper tab on this knife. It doesn't stick out too much, but very, very useful nonetheless. Hand filling grip despite the small blade size, because you can kind of choke up around the pivot area. It's not quite a full-size finger choil, but is a full-size finger space. So you can get a real solid grip on this smaller knife, really push it to town if you need it to. What else? I mean, as far as the rest of the action, I will say this is one I've always found if you like to be the if you like the button lock style to be able to push that and flick it open. This one has always seemed to be a little bit trickier. There's something about the way it's designed. If that's what you're looking to do, might not fit your bill, but if you're just a flipper, which I am anyway, typically with a button lock, no problems whatsoever. Bunch of cool Elmax knives here to check out. And yeah, variety is good. It's always cool to see some more other materials used besides the standard stuff out there. Love it. All right, next question comes from Ray Reader. David, I have a question. Just how many knives do you own? I've seen a few of them, and boy, are they nice. Thanks. Well, thank you, sir. Here's the thing. That information is on a need-to-know basis. And I don't even need to know. I actually don't know the answer to this question. But you're trying to get me in trouble or something, man. I don't like it. The good thing about not knowing how many I have is if I'm being tortured, I can't reveal that information. Which, you know, from an OPSEC sort of standpoint, that's good.
Because that's likely to happen.
You never know.
It's been a crazy year.
Well, we prep for all sorts of things that aren't likely to happen, but that's okay. I do know, seeing as I have just packed up all my knives into storage as part of the move that we're still undergoing, still dragging on, I filled up a carry-on sized suitcase. I have a large tool bag filled with knives. I have a smaller tool bag filled with knives. I have another big cardboard box filled with knives. That might be it. I feel like I'm forgetting another container that has some knives in it that's somewhere around here.
Well, I'm never getting that out of you.
And then knives just keep showing up too. Like, where did this come from? So
the gnomes left them.
So maybe I have too many. Actually, I think I have more than well, take it back. I don't know if I have too many, but I do have more than I want, because I have several I'm trying to offload at some point, but have just been like gathering in a pile, so to speak. So I'll have fewer at some point, but I'm sure I'll pick up some more. But what about you folks? Where do you draw the line? What becomes too many? You know, if you take even a fraction of what I've got out there, news reports would say it was an arsenal. So we don't listen to them. We know what's going on. It's all good fun, people. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. How many knives is too many?
It's not a bad problem to have.
I mean, I'm enjoying myself.
Clearly.
Next question comes from Robert and Liz Carmichael. As someone who wears a lot of suits to work, we're talking Robert or Liz here, it doesn't matter. I'd like to buy a new executive/CEO type pocket knife. However, the blade length in many seems fairly long, like around the 3.5-inch range. Can you recommend a slim style like the CRKT CEO, but with a shorter blade length to not scare off any office folks if I need to use it? Sure thing. I love the executive style knives. I think it's something that, you know, when CRKT introduced the first CEO, this is the flipper version, but the thumb stud version came first, of course. It was a little bit different, a little bit of a breath of fresh air, that long, slender thing. And you've seen a lot of things popping up in the years since that try to like kind of live in the same vein as this. About 3.35-inch blade on this particular knife. The immediate kind of classier, slightly smaller answer I always like to throw out is the Quaken Air. Quaken Air Mini that Boker has recently come out with. 3.07-inch blade, so it's just over 3 inches. This one with the Coco Bolo here is particularly classy and particularly inviting to feel and to look at. About $88. VG10 steel, horizontal grain on the blade, so it's a nice kind of premium feeling touch. And just a bit shorter than the standard CEO. Flips really well too. You've got the liner lock, you've got the deep carry pocket clip. Just a really cool knife. Maybe a little too big still for you, I don't know. You can definitely tell the difference in hand, but might be too big. The immediate answer, the obvious answer in a way, is the new compact CEO flipper from CRKT. $45 for this. The blade length here is about 2.6 inches. It's just a scaled down version of the standard. Flips just as well, despite the smaller size. You've got that deep carry clip that mounts from the tail of the knife, makes it reversible, and it makes it really disappear in the pocket. Very pen-like look from just the pocket clip on the outside. And the handles here are, I'm being completely honest here, not monkeying around at all. The handles are really cool. They're plastic. They are GRN, glass reinforced nylon, plastic. But you'd be forgiven for thinking they were actually some kind of metal. If you're thinking about it and you're touching it, you can go, okay, yeah, it's not metal, but the texture they give it and the fineness of the mold that they use for it and the color really do suggest something a little more premium. It does not feel like a cheap plastic knife whatsoever, bar none. It is really neat. Very classy looking. That's a very kind of cool gray, like blue steel tech type of color perhaps. I just really like it. If you'd like something more premium with a better steel, since we're dealing with 4116 on this particular knife, check out another knife from Boker. One of my favorite series from Boker, the Urban Trapper series by Brad Zinker. This is the Urban Trapper Petite with the titanium handles. $112 or so for this. Very slim carrying in the pocket. Signature element to a lot of Zinker's titanium frame locks with all those holes drilled out. So very lightweight knife too. I mean, what are we coming here? 1.1 ounces for this. Pretty much disappears in terms of the weight in your pocket. Folds up nice and slim too. pocket clip on the outside is a bit more broad, maybe not quite as pen-like, so keep that in mind. Really nice flipping action, VG10, 2 3/4 of an inch, yes. On the blade length, same horizontal grain as on the Quaken Air we looked at before. This is a knife that is simple, but so elegant. It just oozes perfectly drawn lines to me when I look at it. Really fantastic little knife. Hope these options give you some things to think about. Thanks so much. All right, now we come to the lightning round for today. First one from Giugana. Hey DCA, I have a dilemma. Well, that's why we are here. Excellent. I want to buy a Lion Steel M1, which is this knife right here, and I don't really know if I should opt for the wood handle scales or the G10, kind of a style versus substance deal. Does the G10 actually offer a significant upgrade in the grip/longevity department when compared to wood? That's really it. Like, it comes to style versus substance, but the wood has substance too. And in terms of grip, you do have some milling on this, so any wood material can be finished so it has a grip. So I'm going to leave that kind of aside. The thing with wood is it looks great, but even the most stable woods, even some, if a wood is stabilized, it's not completely inert. But unstabilized woods especially can move with time. They can warp, they can crack. Even something hard that doesn't need stabilization like desert ironwood, that can happen to it. So if you want to be sure you're going to have a material that's not going to move around with you for the next 50 years, go with the G10. Or you can go with the wood if it makes you happy. Ultimately, I think if that's what you're really drawn to, don't look back. Enjoy the wood handle scales in either case. Really cool knife here, actually. Nice short blade, about 3 inches. Fob there. I say it's about 3 inches. I haven't looked at the spec.
That might be helpful.
2.91. Really cool little EDC knife. Worked great as a small camping knife, hiking knife too. Really cool. All right, next question comes from Albert Guerra. Can an OTF from Ultratech, Microtech, I have a Microtech Ultratech right here. Can an OTF fire off in the pocket? This is my biggest fear for carrying this type of knife. Nothing to worry about, quite honestly. With a double action OTF like this, when the blade is retracted, it's under no spring tension at all. It's only as you slide this button forward, or the switch forward, as it gradually loads until you hit the spot where the switch stops moving, and then you push through it. And it requires a pretty deliberate amount of pressure to make it happen. So the odds of that happening while in your pocket are almost vanishingly low. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Have fun. So that's the last two questions. Just have fun. Do what makes you happy. Get that knife if you're really jonesing for it. All right, next question comes from FAO. Could you discuss the issue of Stellite and Talonite non-steels? Whatever happened to them? Anyone still working with them, and are they good for EDC? Cool materials when they came out, definitely kind of real high-end, top of the game in performance, but they're expensive for one thing, and nowadays you can get better performance for less cost. From a manufacturer's standpoint, they can get a better product that's steel that doesn't cost them as much, which is why you don't really see too much of it anymore. Simple answer, economics. All comes down to that. All right, which brings us to our most serious question of the day, which comes from carbohydration. Well, carbs like dehydration, anyway, it doesn't matter. I've been EDCing the Carcass Splitter, and I've been getting some odd looks when I use it day to day. I think I need a smaller, more subtle knife to hand people and to use in more public situations. Any recommendations? Well, Mr. Carb, I find it hard to believe that anyone would have an issue with the Carcass Splitter, which hasn't seen airtime on the channel of late, so thank you for your question. Look at the old girl. I need to take care of her a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of surface rust, edges nicked up a little bit. You need a little love. We'll take care of you.
It needs to eat a table.
Needs to eat it. Yeah, we need to feed it some breakfast here. Really cool thing, really useful, and very practical for EDC, if I do say so myself. But if it's a little too much, let me make sure I get the name of this product correct. The Red Horse Max Micro Axe. How about that? Right there. It's kind of your Carcass Splitter alternative right here. Eh? Yes, no, maybe so. $170 CPM D2. So it's the powder metal version of the everyday D2. So it's a significant step up in toughness right there, which is really cool. Plenty of girth right there. Poke stuff with it, poke stuff with the end, slice stuff with it. Not too bad. And carries nice in the pocket thanks to that Kydex mask as well. Hope that helps. Anyway, that's all I have for you folks today. Make sure to leave your comments down in that comment section below if you want to have a chance to get it featured in a future episode. This series lives and bleeds.
Something's gone wrong.
This series lives and breathes on your folks' comments, so keep them coming. If you want to get your hands on any of these knives, links in the description will take you over to KnifeCenter.com. And make sure you remember our Knife Rewards program, because when you place an order, you might as well earn some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center. That's Thomas behind the camera. We're signing off. See you next time.